thank you to everyone who did join. We're now recording. Mel and I are really excited to be back and talk to you all about what Mel has named the luck of the TikTok algorithm, which I love. Fully embracing the holiday. And we're back. So we previously have done a couple of these. We love co-hosting together. If you were here for our first TikTok conversation, we talked all about what TikTok is and how you can use it as a brand. So now we're here to talk a little bit more specifically about some of the, more detailed aspects of TikTok, including the algorithm and how you can work with it, what it is, some of the things that they take into consideration when it comes to ranking videos. So we'll nerd out about it. And then we'll, of course, have an open discussion for anybody to chime in. And, we love keeping this casual. So we'll definitely be doing that.
Feel free to chime in while we're presenting too, or enter in the chat box. If you have any questions or points to bring up, it's very casual. So
yes, we definitely want to encourage questions at any time. I have our little quick bios in case you don't know us. So I'm Sally Stearns, the current AAF Toledo president. I'm also the marketing manager at Hanson. And then I thought it was very important to put the last bulleted bio point that Mel and I both share, which is TikTok enthusiast. Mel, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Melanie Dunn. I'm a former AAF Toledo president, and I'm a designer and developer at Madhouse. I also own Cuttlefish Graphics, and definitely TikTok enthusiast. It was funny when we did the first one, what is TikTok? Sally and I are like, do we even know like what we're talking about? And we got done, we're like, oh my gosh, we know more than we thought. Like, how did we? So we apparently have just learned through our enthusiasm of TikTok and analyzing what it is and how it can work in a marketing way too. So, there's a lot of fun to it, but it is up and coming for advertising, and especially for advertising to Gen Z. So excited to talk more about that with you guys.
Definitely. All right, so let's talk about what even is the TikTok algorithm. I think it's important to first start with that, since that's really our topic today. As we probably all know, many social platforms have algorithms built in to, help from the back end serve content to you as a user. And back in 2021, the New York Times came out with this article. This was the headline, How TikTok Reads Your Mind. So they actually did a deep dive into the algorithm, in the full New York Times way, and, uncovered some specifics about what TikTok considers when it comes to the science behind their algorithm. So really what it is, it's a recommendation system that determines which videos appear on a TikTok user's For You page. If you don't have a TikTok, the For You page is similar to a news feed, like in Facebook. It's just the TikTok name for that. So you open your app, and then you automatically get served videos right away that you can scroll through that are determined by the algorithm. And what's different about it is it's called the For You page because no two users see the same videos in the same order on their page. And the videos you might see change over time or change based on your viewing preferences or current state of mind. So I know Mel and I are TikTok friends on TikTok, so we are commonly sending each other TikToks in our messages because we see different ones and we want to make sure that the other one sees it. So it's a fun way to be like, okay, this came up on my screen or on my For You page. Let me share it to you so that you get it too. It's a neat social interaction that you can have based on the videos that are served up to you individually to make it more of like a friend social experience.
And speaking of that, Sally, I do have a TikTok explaining the TikTok algorithm.
Yes, let's do it. I will stop sharing for now and let you take over and play the one that you have. Yes, please.
Volley it.
Oops, go for it.
Oh, hopefully my sound works. We tested your sound and we didn't test mine, so
I'll let you know. I can see it, and I'll let you know if I can't hear it.
Let me start by saying the algorithm does not care how many followers you have or how many views your past videos have gotten. That's why some of your videos might get literally millions of views and others maybe a few hundred. So when you first upload a TikTok, it gets shown to a small group of people for about 2 hours. After that 2 hours, it gets shown to a medium-sized group of users. During this time, your TikTok's kind of getting tested. The algorithm looks for how many likes you've gotten in these groups, how many shares, how many replays, and how many people actually watch the entire TikTok. So how well your TikTok does during that test time will affect if your TikTok gets pushed out into bigger and bigger audiences. Follow for more tips.
Yeah, so that's, and obviously she was speeding up her voice there. She doesn't talk that fast. You can do that in your TikTok videos. But yeah, I just think it's really interesting how they show it in the beginning of TikTok, trying to figure out how it worked, and learning that they almost like open it up to just like a test group of people and see how it does with that, and not even based on your friends or your followers. And then they see how that goes, and you gain traction that way. So yeah, I just thought that explained that really well. And I always said, I wanted to throw in a little tidbit with the algorithm too. You can learn a lot about someone else by their algorithm. I said if I was young and in the dating world again, I would definitely be like, let me see your TikTok real quick, because then you're going to know right away, based what's on it, what they're interested in, how diverse their content is, how appropriate it is. So yeah, it says a lot about, like you said, your current state of mind and your viewing preference.
That's a perfect transition into our next video with the one and only Amy Poehler, who was actually on the late night show with Seth Meyers. And she talked all about how her For You page on TikTok definitely mirrors the different moods that she's in. So I'll play this one. It'll take me a second to make sure it loads. Oops.
Good evening, I'm Seth Meyers, and this is Late Night. We hope you're doing well.
How's everybody doing? The whole 20 minutes.
Yeah, we won't, we promise.
I think if there's any message we give to the kids.
Yeah.
What do you...
I mean, I feel like, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, my For You page, TikTok For You page, really does tell me where I am mentally.
Oh, like mentally. And what is it currently?
Right now, it's kind of, there's a lot of like sad stuff right now. I gotta put a little pep in my step. I can tell that if I'm low-level depressed by the fact that I'm watching too much TikToks of like, soldiers and their like dogs they've lost in war and stuff. And I'm like, I need to get back to some.
Yeah. You know what? I wasn't watching it on TikTok, but I feel like this would be something you'd love a great deal. Best thing that happened.
So yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of a sadder rendition, but it really does affect the way that maybe you're feeling at the time, or different, conversations that you're having with people based on the interactions that you give to the videos that are most reaching you in that moment. And I think a celebrity like her talking about the real life behind it, it's very interesting, and it definitely gets into the psychology a little bit, because I think it's definitely a psychology behind it in ways that I think other social platforms might not be as much, because it's more about your likes and your interests than the likes and the interests of your friends that you're scrolling through and seeing on Facebook, if that makes sense.
Right.
So
I get frustrated sometimes when I just want to relax and watch funny TikToks.
Yeah.
And it starts showing me like all the design TikToks and the SEO TikToks. And I'm like, not right now. Like, I don't want to learn right this second. TikTok. That's for a different day. So yeah,
that's when I'm feeling productive.
Yeah.
I love it. That's very true. Yeah, you definitely see different sides of your personality sometimes. When you're in the mood to learn, when you're in the mood to just relax at night and be entertained. Yes. So here are some of TikTok's main goals. This actually came out of that New York Times article that I referenced in the beginning. They really prioritize, in their words, specific things when it comes to the user. So this is in TikTok's brain. This isn't from a user standpoint. They prioritize things like user value, so how valuable the content is to the specific user on an individual level. Long-term user value, so how long do specific users interact with specific types of content? And then creator value. So is that user a creator themselves, and how often do they post content? What content do they engage with from other creators? That's a whole element of the TikTok algorithm in itself, based on whether or not you are just a consumer or a creator yourself. And then of course, platform value. So things along the lines of metrics that TikTok can gain from you, and some of the different, specific scientific elements around what they really prioritize from an app standpoint and from the technology behind it. And that graphic on the right just is a nerdy way of showcasing some of the different algorithms that they might use to gather content or gather information about a specific user. This is another nerdy chart. Mel laughed at me because she thought that I made this, but I promise I did not. This actually is also
keeping it casual. What is this?
It's not me, I promise. This is actually from the New York Times article, and this was their rendition of what TikTok considers when it comes to their algorithm. So all of these different elements combine together to create what you see as a user on your For You page. So time spent and retention, the quality of videos in your feed, interactions, social metrics, live streaming. I mean, look at all the elements here and how they relate together. And you can see the level of sophistication for sure, but also how much goes into everything that you see when you open that app from a user standpoint. It's just very interesting to get into the back end behind it and realize how much they really think through as a company to give you what they're hoping you like or want to receive.
Well, and what they like also, because I've seen
That
they
too.
will say this, and I don't think the New York Times article said it, but the creators will make videos hinting at or talking about how certain videos will perform poorly if they're referencing things off the app. Like there's one guy I follow that does really funny content, and he had a show he was putting on YouTube or something, and his joke was like, why won't you, like, if I post a video, it does great, but if I say I want them to watch my show, and he like wrote it behind him, he's like, I won't say it, but like if I say this, and he was pretending to be TikTok having a conversation with himself, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. So they don't advertise that, but they do want to keep people on the app, much like the other apps. So it does seem, if you try to direct people away, with the exception of advertising, if you're purchasing advertising, you have the ability to send them to a purchase. But they may start doing the in-app purchases as well, like Instagram and Pinterest. So, but I thought that was interesting how they also, prioritize their own app in your content.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting thing to bring up too, because I know, Instagram started out being very, very focused on photos, right? It was the photo sharing app. You don't get the noise of Facebook with different status updates and things. They really prioritize those in-feed photos. And we've watched over time how it's evolved, how it's gotten more into advertising, how now you can purchase things right in the app without ever leaving it. And TikTok has been a little bit of a longer process, because for a while you couldn't even advertise on TikTok. It wasn't even a facet of this app specifically. They purposely kind of tried to stay away from it, but then inevitably it happened, right? More businesses got on it, more brands are realizing the opportunity. So they started their advertising, opportunities. And I will not be surprised if it did end up being even more of an in-app experience, just like Instagram, because they just really try to follow the behavior of people and try to, like you said, Mel, keep their objectives in mind in terms of wanting you to stay in their system instead of leaving. So we'll see if it ever happens. I'd be interested to, follow along, but for now it is currently definitely more user focused or more creator focused with advertising, mixed in. So a couple of things from the user standpoint. These are some key factors that TikTok thinks are important from your standpoint to rank videos that are most going to be willing to be interacted with by you. So they take into consideration user interactions. So from your perspective, think about how any accounts that you might follow, comments that you post, videos that you like or share. So how Mel and I are always sharing videos with each other. Videos reported as not interested, because you do have the opportunity as a user to say, this doesn't interest me, to videos that get served to you. And they will take that into consideration when, serving you videos in the future. And then also they take into consideration video information that's sought out on the Discover tab. So in addition to the For You page, you can actually navigate over to the Discover tab and explore different types of content if you want to go out directly and search something. And they will take into consideration things that you search, like specific captions or sounds you look at or hashtags you look up and might follow, effects that you interact with or might go out and search for. So all of those things that you inevitably go out and seek, they're learning about. They're picking that up as information or data that that matches you, and they're thinking about it when they turn around other content in the future. Something else that's important too is your device and account settings. So when you sign up as a TikTok user, you set your language preference, you set your country, they learn your type of device, whether it's Apple, Android, iPad, etc. And then also when you do sign up, you set your categories of interest. So Mel, I don't know if you remember doing this when you signed up, because I know we're like 2 years into this. But you do set like things you're interested in, and it will remember that too, because those are the first things you ever gave them, right? I mean, those are the first little details that you voluntarily gave up to tell them what you might interact with. So I think that's important too to think about. Obviously, it changes over time a little bit based on the other metrics, like the first one, but they do take that definitely into factor when it comes to what they end up, delivering to you.
And as a user, you do have to train it a little. I don't know how many of you guys are avid TikTok users on this call, but in the beginning, I know like our friend Liz was not seeing content that she liked. So we were trying to send her things that we knew so she could watch it through and train her algorithm so that it would start serving up. She was like on the wrong side of her preferences. She was like on the opposing side. So yeah, you can train it a little. And it's just, it's interesting. It's like a living, breathing thing that picks up what you like.
Mm-hmm. And that's a really good point too, because I think a lot for people that aren't TikTok users, but maybe see TikToks on different platforms. Like I know a lot of brands or companies might post or reshare TikToks on Instagram, for example. That automatically might affect, if you were to join TikTok, or maybe you have TikTok, but you watch content on other platforms, it doesn't help you on TikTok because you're watching it somewhere else. So it's not learning that information about you because you're not spending that time in the app giving them what they need to learn about you. So I think that's just another consideration, because I know a lot of different people will cross promote content and try to get users back to their platforms based on that. But if you're going outside of TikTok, they're not going to be able to learn from you as much as they would like to, or maybe as much as you would like to if you want to train them yourself. So just something to think about too.
I had to make a separate account actually for client research, because I was like, I don't want to mess up. It knows me too well, and it serves up what I like. And I was looking at, obviously the key demographic for my client was not me. So I had to search some things I wouldn't usually be looking at, and I made a side account so I wouldn't mess up my little gold mine there.
I love it. You're dedicated. That's dedication right there. So things that aren't included in the algorithm, I think this is important just to note. Duplicate content. So TikTok really tries hard to make sure that you never see content again that you previously saw. So everything you see should be fresh, should be something that you haven't seen before. I've had the experience where I might see something that I did see before, but that's because someone stitched it, which means that they actually took the first clip of it and they responded to it in their own way. So the beginning will be the original video I saw, but then the second half of the video is them reacting to it or them, commenting on it in their own way. So that's why I might see it. Again, is because it has changed and I interacted with it perhaps the first time. But the real intent is that you will never go on and see something again that you had seen before. Like, I don't know if you guys see duplicate content on other social platforms. I know Twitter, a lot of times I've gotten onto Twitter and I will see similar content than or the same content sometimes that I saw the last time I logged in. So it's not as fresh sometimes as this platform, really prides itself in being. They also will very, very much, and they take seriously content that the algorithm flags as spam. So anything that our user reports as spam, reports as junk, reports as inappropriate, they will make sure to hopefully not serve it up in the future. So it definitely learns based on those behaviors as well, and then related to that, potentially upsetting content. So any content that might be sensitive, any content that might have been reported as such, they try to really make sure that they're learning from that, from other users reporting on that, or other comments that might be on videos that could potentially be, upsetting. I've seen a lot of videos and comments where people will say like, this should have a trigger warning, or this is sensitive, like people really try to help out in comments to make sure that you wouldn't just casually be scrolling through and see something that you didn't intend to, or something that could potentially emotionally upset you in that time, given your current life or current situation.
And they do pop that trigger warning on. That's a good thing to expand upon, especially recently, you know, with videos from Ukraine or anything like that. It'll warn you, and you'll have to say, okay, I still want to watch it. Because it's difficult with some of that, because it's triggering and it's hard to watch, but it also, they want, you know, Ukrainians want people to see this so that we can do whatever we can do.
Very true. Yes, I've seen a lot of that similarly in that exact same situation. It's like the purpose is for sure to showcase it, right? They want us to see what they're going through so that we know we can help, we can spread the word. But then TikTok's trying to do their part and saying like, this is what you're about to see. You need to, you know, essentially opt in to see it. That way you're aware of what you're about to watch. So another thing to point out is TikTok does not base recommendations on follower count or on a history of high performing videos. So I think this is important to note too. You as a user, you know, there's all these TikTok influencers that have millions and millions of followers that obviously have different For You pages than we do. But I think it's important to note that they really don't take that into consideration when they serve up content to you. It's really about you as that individual and not you as an influencer, trying to give you that unique experience that you are wanting to have when you sign up. So just think that's important to reference too, because there are many different levels of TikTok users, of course, just based on the influencer culture that we have today. But they really try to make it so that it is this unique experience to you, which is why I think a lot of people are on it, because they do feel like they're part of this community, but yet they're also individually, you know, having that experience just because of the content that they see.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen creators complain about that too. You know, I have all these followers and all these likes, but this video flopped. And that's also why a lot of them say don't delete, you know, old content if it's not performing well. It could down the road. Don't delete it and repost it and things like that. But yeah, definitely you could have 1 million followers and post a video that still gets 7 views if they don't feel it's the right, you know, fit.
Right. Yep. Very true. All right. So the second half of this, and these are just a couple more slides, and I want to open it up for discussions to make sure Mel and I have time to answer questions. How to work with it. So I know the topic was essentially, is it based on luck? You've kind of learned that no, it's really about the science. It's really about these metrics that are important from a user and from an app standpoint. But there are ways to, as a brand, as a business, as an individual, to work with it, to try to help the way that content is seen moving forward. So these are things that people have found over time can help from a digestion standpoint. A couple ways to work with it: switch to a TikTok Pro account. So if you are a business on here that is trying to establish a presence or trying to establish, you know, some engagement on here, you might have more luck being a TikTok Pro account than you might have as an individual user. So that's something to consider. Finding your subculture. So really paying attention to that niche audience that you're trying to reach, and, you know, making sure things like your captions match that, or just the different content that you engage with tries to build up that community. Maximize first moments. So I know a lot of what Mel and I talked about the last time we talked about TikTok was you only have a couple seconds to really grab a user's attention on here from a creator or business standpoint, right? You're scrolling through fast and you want to, you know, stay on content that you think is relatable to you. So from a creator standpoint, you want to make sure those first couple seconds are meaningful so that people will spend more time to watch the rest of your video. That's very, very important on TikTok specifically. As we know, people just instantly will scroll through if they don't think something's going to match their expectation. Similar to that, write engaging captions. So captions definitely mean a lot on TikTok. A lot of users might read the caption first before they even start to watch the video. And then, of course, the keywords in the captions will also help along the ranking standpoint too. So I think that's really important. Creating high quality videos is also something to think about. So I think there's a little bit of a caveat here, because I believe TikTok has really, you know, helped people that might not be professional videographers create videos. But I think as long as you are, paying attention to the way that TikTok, allows you to create a video when it comes to effects, when it comes to filters, there's a lot of built-in editing components that they have available. So if you use that to your advantage, that could help, the way that your video is perceived or the way that your video does in the long run. So just something to think about too. You definitely don't have to be a professional videographer to succeed on TikTok. You can be a regular everyday person that has no video experience, but they try to really help work with you so that you can feel like you're getting some sort of, professional help when it comes to the editing features in there.
They have the Creator Studio also, and I'll look up that link and put it in the chat. I think you have to go through like your ads portal to find it, but the Creator Studio is really helpful because it shows trending video. You can look up, say, you're a college looking for ideas on how other colleges are using TikTok and if that's working. You could search, down to the area and the niche and see other people's videos, the top performing ones, which sounds they're using, and all that right there in the Creator Studio. So it's really helpful. And on the sounds, I have this, I think there's other apps too, but this one's called Trend Talk. And you can search, globally or down to even your local area, what are the top sounds and what's trending, because that's an easy way to hop on the algorithm train too, is to use a trending sound in your content, like Sally was mentioning. So
very true. Yeah, I think those apps are super, super useful because especially trends specifically, sound specifically can change so quickly. So those apps are really so fast. So those apps are really, really helpful for you to quickly dive in and know what's happening now. And if you can respond to that, or if you can utilize that in a unique way, that's just going to help you in the long run. Very, very much so. So I think those are really helpful tips that I'm glad you brought up right now, because they're definitely ways that other organizations or other creators have created resources for people like us or for brands or businesses that want to tap into this to help them succeed in their own ways. Posting at the right time for your audience. So this is just another little aspect of how you can learn more and do better from a creator standpoint. I actually have a quick video I'll show on the next screen that we'll get into that specifically and how you can learn about the right time based on the metrics that TikTok gives you. And then using the right hashtags. So similar to what Mel was just talking about with trends, that's the next bullet here, trending sounds and music. Hashtags trend just like sounds and music do. And we're all kind of used to hashtags when it comes to thinking about Instagram or Twitter specifically. So it's the same sort of mentality, but TikTok has really tried to build in the system of ranking hashtags. You can actually follow specific hashtags. So I know I follow things like book talk, which is a huge hashtag on TikTok and this whole subculture. But then that increases the chance that videos around books might be served up to me more frequently than some other content. So it's just another metric that is definitely taken very seriously from the TikTok standpoint. And then here, so this is a fun little video. I won't play the whole thing, but it's a kind of scientific video about how to find the right time.
Do you wake up every Tuesday at 4 a.m. to post to TikTok? According to some studies, we won't say which ones, that's what you have to do if you want to go viral. Today we're talking about why you should probably ignore generic and arbitrary advice about the exact best minute to post on TikTok. We'll tell you what we here at Hootsuite do instead. And it doesn't involve getting up at 4 a.m., usually. Hey, I'm Carolina from Hootsuite's social media team, and this is Hootsuite Labs, where we teach you the science of social media marketing, how it works, and how to be successful. If you've ever been served up a 3-month-old video of a penguin falling off a rock on your For You page, you have to wonder if it even matters to TikTok at all what time you post your videos at. Here at Hootsuite, we track all the social media algorithms, including their every teeny little update. And to be honest, it seems to be less and less important that social media professionals stick to a by-the-minute posting schedule. For instance, YouTube says it's delighted to suggest 12-year-old videos to people as long as those videos are satisfying and valuable. Meanwhile, Instagram is very clear about how its algorithm will show you every single piece of relevant content that's been posted since you last logged in. You just have to scroll enough to see it all. Okay, so all that said, when is the best time to post on TikTok for reach or engagement or what have you? The most valid answer, in our opinion, is to post when your audience is on TikTok, which means there isn't one universal answer at all. And given the level of personalization TikTok's For You page has, it makes sense that TikTok cares more about matching viewers to videos they'll love than whether a video is 30 minutes or 30 hours old. At Hootsuite, for instance.
So just a little insight into that. I think that's important to show because it is based on the individual user. There's not one universal time to say, yes, post TikToks at 10 a.m. on Thursdays. I know there's a lot of, metrics around that for other platforms or even for email, for example. But I think it is a lot more important here to point out that you've got to look into your audience. You've got to look into the data behind the metrics in your brand platform or your creator studio and really figure that out to know what might work best for you. Because again, too, I think it's important to also note TikTok isn't chronological. You don't see things based on when they're posted. You just see things based on what we already discussed in terms of the different metrics, time being considered, but certainly not the only thing that matters. So just food for thought there as it relates to when to post on TikTok. Those are our last slides. Now we'll open it up to discussion. I've seen a couple chats in the chat box, so I'll make sure to stop sharing my screen so we can all join together and have some open discussion.
I'm sorry if you can hear my dog. He's across the house, but he's just like hollering over there. But we did have a question brought up about using quick video editing that you could use in conjunction with the TikTok features. So things like Adobe. And you could definitely you could video and then edit everything in Adobe. You could use Premiere. And then just put that whole video in TikTok. And there are a lot of creators that have video backgrounds that'll do that. They do their professional cameras and their lighting. And you just gotta make sure it's vertical. You want vertical video. But you could do all of that before you even put that video in TikTok if you want. Or you could use a combination. I know I made one, like a silly one for AdBid last year, and I did a little bit of both because I liked the lip syncing feature to have it going while I was making the video. So I did some scenes that way, but I did edit some in Premiere just because I'm used to Premiere and wasn't, it was trickier for me to use TikTok because I had used Premiere. So I used a little bit of both of those, but yeah, you can add your sound in TikTok after the fact and things like that, but you can definitely use a combination.
Awesome.
Hello,
Any
everyone.
Hi,
Eric. How's it going? This is great. Hey, I got a quick question for you. As far as our industry in particular, the advertising, video production, photography production, is there any metrics that show conversion to actual clients? So somebody who, looks at a TikTok and says, I got to call these people and get some work done for them.
I believe you would need to do that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sally, through the advertising portal. That would give you those metrics. You can go as far with the advertising portal. You can, just like Google advertising, you can get a code to put on your website so that you're tracking, okay, I want people to watch this video and then go to my website, to my contact page and fill out a form. Right. And it does have that capability. If you're just making them for fun, I don't know if you can necessarily track conversions. You may want to you probably would fill in the blanks there, like, oh, I posted on this day at this time, and I got views from this area, and then I did see this many submissions on my website.
Gotcha.
But yeah, with the advertising features, you definitely can track that.
Okay, yeah. Because between, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and every, it takes a lot of time, to do all these. And unless you have somebody dedicated to just social media, it's unwieldy at times. So.
That's for sure.
That's a good
point. Good to gauge.
Yeah.
That's an excellent point to gauge your metrics to figure out which platform's performing best. Because again, like the tips on what time to post best, it's your audience. It's your audience. You want to run those tests to see where you're getting action, and then try to focus your limited social media time, limited time you have for social media advertising, into those that are most effective. But I think if you're doing photography and video, like it would be TikTok and Instagram, I would assume would be the best route.
Yeah, actually, I've been getting more hits on LinkedIn, to tell you the truth. It's crazy.
Really?
It's bizarre. Yeah, I don't get it.
That is.
But yeah, it's
I'm gonna have to check out your page later. Maybe it's just that good.
Yeah, give me some tips, hints and tips. So, yeah, I mean, in YouTube, I haven't figured out, because I can get 100,000 views on one and a couple hundred on another. So I still gotta try and figure that one out. But you never know. I just again, trying to keep up is just that's a job in and of itself.
It is. It really is.
But no, this is great.
Time.
This is great. I appreciate this whole session here. For sure.
Of course.
Yeah, and you can always reach out too if you have other questions. Sally and I are always down to talk about TikTok.
Sounds good. I may take you up on that. So, be aware.
Sure.
We try to fit it into every conversation. Carrie and Val know we'll try to bring it up in any AF call, meeting, anytime. So yes, we're happy to do that. And Eric, I think you make a good point too, because at Hanson, we get a lot of questions like, should my company be on TikTok? Should we just do it because everybody else is on it? I know we just talked about all the advantages on it, and we really tried to dig in from a creator standpoint just to give you a little bit more insight into that. But I think it is important to note too that it is an investment. I know it's not easy. We definitely know it's not easy from our experience on the creator side, to just go in and be like, yep, we're on this now. We just certainly hope and definitely believe that it depends on your audience too. Like I know Mel said in the beginning, a lot of the Gen Z audience, the younger demographic, is definitely using this platform. So if you as a business are really trying to reach that specific demographic, it might make a lot of sense. But I definitely think there's different considerations to think about when it comes to figuring out if it's the right platform for you to invest your time in, or for you to tackle amongst everything else that you're trying to manage.
For
because
sure.
It definitely can be a big undertaking.
Yeah, I mean, just a little insight. I had, most of the people that view my stuff are actually other photographers, or people in the imaging industry. And it's like, I don't get any business from you people.
You could, if you do like an online course, Eric. Like that's maybe they could be.
Well. Yeah, there's a lot of people doing that right now, and so the money is slim in that end of it, and I do, I can make money doing speaking engagements at conferences and that type of thing, but the online thing, it's so saturated now, and obviously we make our money, all of us in the advertising industry, so trying to connect with those people is the more difficult. I can connect with photographers, filmmakers with no problem. It's just gauging the content that connects with other advertising professionals. So
I think repurposing your content is a good way to test and to get around some of that too. And they recommend that a lot, so you can. You're able to go as far as download your TikTok video without a watermark. There's ways to do that in apps that'll do that for you if you don't want to go through those routes. But then you can see if it's the same content. You can put that on Instagram. You can put that on YouTube and see how they compare to each other. So you're only making that one set of content, so that saves time, and then 2, you're seeing how that performs differently. I know there's something to be said for making sure you're creating for the platform, because there's a different voice with TikTok than there is with Instagram on some levels, because a lot of people are sharing TikToks as Instagram Reels, which Instagram brought in because TikTok was crushing them on interaction numbers. So but repurposing is also a good way to get around that.
Excellent. Well, I'll shut up and let other people jump in here.
Oh, you're fine.
We do have a question.
The past Coffee with Creatives host as well, so we do always appreciate seeing you back.
Yeah, thanks.
We do have a question from Bree in the audience who said, is there a certain frequency you need to post? Which is a great question and something I don't believe we got into when we dug into those specific ways to work with it. And Mel, please chime in here, but I think it's important to note that it is important to be frequent if you want to be able to reach people, you know, but again, the relevancy is more important than the frequency. That is something that I think will remain true based on what we've learned about TikTok in terms of the scientific approach behind it. I mean, they're more likely going to rank you for the way that you're reaching people, the interactions that you receive, than they will just because you're posting on there once a day, twice a day, whatever it may be. Not to say that it isn't important to post at a good schedule, because a lot of the creators that do well because one of the reasons why is because they are doing it at a sort of consistent basis. So they're improving the amount of times that they might be seen. But I really think you should prioritize the relevancy first before you prioritize that frequency, just in terms of the way to try to get the most success. And now I don't know if you want to chime in here. I want to make sure you can give your thoughts as well.
No, I definitely agree. And that's actually a highly debated topic that I see on my TikToks about making TikToks. Because there are so many people that say the formula is to post 3 times a day, every day. And I do see a lot more people saying what you're saying, Sally, that, that can help. But if you're just posting crap just to get your 3 TikToks out there, then it's not going to be relevant to your audience, and it may not be the quality you want. So finding what works for you and being consistent with it, and really focusing on making sure you have a message. If that message is just to entertain and be funny, it's maybe not as targeted, but if you're trying to talk to photography clients or things like that, then you would want to make sure you're consistent with that type of info, and posting semi-regularly. But 3 times a day, like Eric said, like, who has time? If you're not a full-time creator, you're not gonna have time to make that much. One way you can achieve that, I've seen a lot of tips on batching your content. So you spend like a whole day making all your TikToks, and then you just feed them and post them, at 3 times a day or whatever you decide to do, once a day, once a week. But yeah, definitely it doesn't seem to boost your algorithm. It's just a theory that it does if you post that much, but I've seen it go both ways.
We have one more question from Dennis, who asked a good one here. If there's time to address this, what do you see as the next TikTok, the next social media platform on the horizon? Ooh, that is interesting.
I don't know. I think it'll still be video. Video is taking over, because it's so easy to tell a story, and your view times are obviously going to be longer than looking at a photo. So I think it would still be something video. But it's hard to tell because you knew what was coming with these before.
And it's related to that, speaking about who knew what was coming. I mean, TikTok really got bigger with the rise of the pandemic, right? People were home more. People were just hanging out around their house. Yeah, that's why I joined too. And that's why we both, got into it. And I think that's true for many, many people, not everybody certainly, but I think it saw this huge rise or influx when people had more time to spend at home, when they were looking for some sort of reprieve from all the news and the current situation that we were all living in. But still, I mean, looking at it now, 2 years later, it's still relevant. It's still the most popular social media platform out there. So I see it being really relevant and continuing to stay, as the top engaging platform, if not the most engaging, for a long time, just because of the way that it has really kind of built itself into the favoritism of so many people. I also want to bring up too, another platform that rose up in the pandemic was Clubhouse. Mel, I don't know if you ever joined Clubhouse or got on Clubhouse, but speaking of platforms that might rise and then maybe not take off so much. So that was a platform built on audio, right? That was all audio all the way. You didn't see anything. You didn't see anybody. You just joined rooms based on specific topics and then heard people talk or joined in conversations. And it did so well with time because people were seeking that conversation. People didn't have, you know, the chance to have water cooler conversation in the office, or didn't get to see their friends as much as they used to. So people craved that. And now I've seen that not a lot of people are on that anymore because they're maybe back at the office or returning to some sort of in-person, you know, interaction that they're having. But TikTok has stayed, I think, because of video, because people are, they crave that entertainment value. They crave that digestible way to tell a story. They want to see something unfold in front of them. So I just really believe what you said, Mel. It really comes down to video. If there's another social platform that rises up, that finds some other unique way to show video, maybe they'll have a chance. But I really think that TikTok, who kind of grew out of this Vine culture with, you probably remember Vine, Mel, which was just quick 10-second clips that were videos that people just loved. And then it went away. And then TikTok really rose. And now it, you know, it can be so much longer than that. But I really think we're a video culture. We really, really thrive on that. So if another platform can compete in a similar way, then maybe they'll rise up there. But I really think TikTok will be something that will stay at least for the next couple of years.
I think
hot
the
take
purchases also. So maybe if TikTok doesn't jump on it, maybe if something else came up with video and in-app purchases, because the data is showing Gen Z they're not as likely to watch a commercial on the television and go buy a product. They don't trust advertising. They're aware of it. They're aware they're being advertised to. So they want to see videos of people saying, no, I bought this and it does work, or this is what I use this for. And that resonates with them a lot more than they want it right away. They don't want to, 2 days later, Google it and find that product. So I do think the in-app purchases are going to get bigger, whether that's within TikTok or if someone comes up with something else.
Very good point. Yes, definitely think that's true.
I've been on TikTok when it was Musically. So
nice.
Musically, after Vine it was Musically and then TikTok, converted to TikTok. But at the time, the videos, the quality wasn't the same. Of course, you didn't have as many filter options, and it wasn't as user friendly as it is today. So I do feel like if it is going to convert into another platform with video, it's probably going to just give you more options and make it more user friendly. That would be the only competition, I think.
Definitely.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I love that you just said that, because that is definitely why it's seen the success that it has. It's made anyone believe or really see is true that they can be a creator too. It's not, you don't have to have a professional camera. You don't have to, invest in all this equipment. Not to say that isn't an important part of profession, but you can be just a typical everyday person and, find a unique way to tell your story in a video, and you can find your own audience that way. So I think that's a very good point. If another platform can find a way to make that even easier, then I could definitely see that being a contributing factor to why they have success. I love that thought.
And people love the filters. So yeah, that's an excellent point too. If someone was coming up with better features and better filters, people would definitely jump on that. I still am waiting for Zoom to get the TikTok makeup features so I can just pop that on when I have one meeting all day. I've said this to Sally 1,000 times, but yeah, that's a big selling point. So that was a good point.
Love it. Awesome. Any other questions or comments before we wrap things up? This is a great chat. We're so happy you guys all could make it, and hope this was helpful to all of you.
Hey, Sally, I have a question from the consumer side.
All right, Carrie, hit us.
Consumer Carrie.
So we talked about once you get initially on TikTok, you have to kind of fight through the algorithm to start seeing videos that you would actually enjoy. Do you have suggestions on kind of a fast track way to get through that period?
Just actively search and interact. When you see something you like, make sure you're interacting with it. Make sure you're watching it all the way through. Like we were saying with Liz, Sally and I were sending her videos that we knew she would like so that she could then watch them in the app. And that would retrain her algorithm to understand which side of the fence she was on some things. So, but it does take some time because even like I said, I made that account, that side account to research for clients. And yeah, it was, I'm like, I didn't even know this stuff was on TikTok. Like it's not on mine at all. Because you start with like the dancing and things if you're not into that. So you gotta train it just like a little puppy, Carrie. You gotta go through and say, no, I don't like that, but I do like this.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I've seen a lot of people commenting. So like part of why I love TikTok is because of the comments on it. And Mel and I will even say to each other sometimes, like, make sure you look at the comments because people are hilarious and they have these engaging conversations. But a lot of times I will see in the comments commenting so that I can stay on food talk or book talk or whatever. Like they deliberately will comment and say that so that it increases their chance of being able to see content like that in the future. So I think everything Mel said, very true. Sending content that you think is relevant, commenting, watching things all the way through. The more you do that, the more it's going to be a better experience. I also realized too, something that I think we haven't brought up yet that maybe is important to bring up is you can tell by all these conversations that we're having that TikTok is also unique in that we as users, or most of us, I should say, I don't want to speak for everyone, Mel and I will speak for, we want TikTok to learn about us, right? And I know from a bunch of different apps, you don't really want, you're like creeped out when Facebook serves you an ad based on a conversation you just had. But TikTok, why you like it is because it's more personal to you. And so you're voluntarily essentially giving up this data about yourself, which I realize there's some irony there. But I think that's why it's so different to a lot of people is because you know what you're signing up for, right? We're willingly saying, we're commenting on this because we want to stay on this, or we're categorizing ourselves in these ways. But we are okay with it because we want to have that experience that we know it will give us. I think that's just something important to think about when it comes to the psychology behind it.
How many times have we said so accurate? Like that's all there is you can say, because it'll after this, I'm sure it'll send us, we'll see one that's like when you talk in a meeting and then afterwards you feel like you rambled, like, so it gets so accurate and like that about it. So yeah, Sally's on where you are volunteering. You want it to watch what you're doing more so than you do maybe with other apps, just to get that.
Something interesting to think about. Awesome. Well, I think we can go ahead and wrap up here. Thank you, everybody. I know we have a couple announcements. Yeah. So the first thing, I know there are a couple students and perhaps faculty of different universities on the call. So one thing we want to bring up is an upcoming event that we're hosting as AF Toledo. It's called Career Con, and it's actually our second annual event. It's a virtual event for students specifically that we're hosting, and it's actually incorporating some of the things that we just talked about. So we are incorporating
videos, you guys.
Yes,
because we know the students want to see. Eric, with some people on the call, have been asked to do them. We're doing like day in the life TikTok style videos to try to give the students the kind of things that they want to see in a brief amount of time, like they like to see it. So.
Well, now that I know I don't have to dance, maybe I'll do one.
Yeah, you don't have to dance, Eric.
You better
nobody,
do it. Yeah,
nobody
really
needs to see that. Nobody needs to see that.
No. Well, you could dance, but if that's your day in a life, that might be part. But we just really want to give students an accurate, quick view of a lot of these different areas of advertising and what it looks like to be in those positions. So. And that's launching, register on our website, aftoledo.org, students and or faculty. And then there's also opportunity, Sally, if you want to, I jumped in on the TikTok.
No, I love it. Please do.
But please continue.
Yeah, Carrie just shared, thank you, Carrie. Carrie just shared the link to the registration and in the chat. So if you want to, feel free to register yourself if you're a part of that audience, or if you want to share with a student or young professional. Registration is free, so we are not charging for this. It really will, the registration will just give exclusive access to this content from these adfluencers, we call them, just professionals within our area that we've tapped and asked to create these videos so that we can show them to students so that they can see what it's like to work in different career paths. So definitely, we would love if you could spread the word. And related to upcoming events, I know Carrie has another quick announcement about our April event, so I'll turn it over to Carrie.
Thanks, Sally. Just continuing on with our programs. Following CareerCon in April on the 20th is going to be Products of a Pandemic. It's part of our Lunch and Learn series, and that's going to be hosted by Melinda Bowden from Promo Hits. And an important thing with this is to register by April 1st, because you're going to receive an event package in the mail. After you register, you'll be prompted to fill out a form where you'll send a package to your home or office, wherever, and you'll open the package during the call, and she'll walk through some of the products that they have and kind of talk about the sustainability that they've fought through the pandemic. So that's pretty exciting. Make sure to go check it out. The link's posted in the chat. And yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Awesome. Let us know if you have any other questions. In the meantime, you can reach us on our social media platforms. We're trying to stay as up to date as possible on there. And in the meantime, we're just really excited that you joined us this morning. So thank you so much, everybody. Hope you have a great rest of your St. Patrick's Day, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.